Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. Today I wanted to tell you a bit of a story when I was doing some ratting in nullsec. It didn't go exactly the same way it usually goes for me when I go ratting. So I was doing my usual ratting, you know, the havens with my Rattlesnake. I've got a bit of footage to show you what went on, but it doesn't have any live commentary because it was just a very sudden thing that happened. So you'll be seeing that at the end, towards the end of the video. But what happened was that I was just going around, we were just going around ratting. And then I warped to my side as per usual. I usually in my Rattlesnake, it's a kind of like a sniper fit, so to say. So I go there, I warp at 50 kilometers, which I usually do, and then what do I see? Well, I see that the last wave is there in the site. So like someone had, not finished the site, because the last wave of the Sansha Haven is characterized by having like lots of battleships and battlecruisers, a lot more than the first initial wave, which you usually see a ton of them. But here, there was something a bit different. And no, it was not a free true Sansha spawn. It was a Dreadnought. Dreadnought had spawned and someone left it there. Nobody had talked about it in the comms, the communication system we have, like a voice chat or anything. Nobody had mentioned about this Dreadnought right here. And for you guys who do not know, this is how it works. So in the higher tier of anomalies, like for example the Sansha Sanctum or the Sanctums, the Havens, I think, I'm not sure if every type of Haven, but I'm pretty sure that Sanctums and definitely the Rock Havens, which I do a lot, they can spawn, they have the potential of spawning in a Dreadnought spawn in the last wave. And what this means is that, like, it's like you could say as like a boss spawn, so to say. It's like, how there's always a chance that you can get an escalation when you finish an anomaly. Well, there's also a chance that you can get a true Sansha spawn. There's also a chance that you can get a Dreadnought spawn. So these Dreadnoughts, they can spawn in two types. You can get the true, like the faction Dreadnought, which will because I'm farming now Sansha pirates, so they would then be the true Sansha Dreadnought. But you can also just have a standard Sansha Dreadnought. So those are the two types that can spawn. So you can be a bit extra lucky and get the true Sansha one that can drop like these better loot, I think, and I think it's also got better bounty. But the point is, here there was a Dreadnought that spawned, and no one talked about this, and that is there's a big problem with this, because these Dreadnoughts will absolutely annihilate you. They will destroy you if you're ratting in subcamps. Okay, if you're in a carrier, I've heard, like I've discussed with people in my corp. So as you know, I'm not super experienced with nullsec. I'm basically a high sec care bear, but they've discussed and said that like usually a bling carrier will be able to take out a Dreadnought, but otherwise you would have two carriers, two standard like carriers, like I'm guessing like the Tech 2 variant, and then you would also have a single Dreadnought could also take out a enemy Dreadnought. That's also a possibility right there. Seems quite reasonable. So that's what you would need to take out an NPC Dreadnought, that is. But we're in a subcap, and we're not even in a particularly tanky ship. My Rattlesnake is based on a sniper fit, but the thing is, capital ships in general, they can fire really far. This Dreadnought, NPC Dreadnought, is no exception. They can fire really far. They just really don't care at all. And in fact, since we're quite far away, it's going to help even more with the transversal, I can imagine. But I have heard, or I have had an experience before that I was ratting in the VNI back in the old days, like 2017, 18, even 19 a bit, I think. It was very efficient to do ratting in Vexor Navy issues because they were very like AFK friendly. They had a lot of DPS. Then they got nerfed. But the point is, I was flying a Vexor Navy issue, and I had an after benefit, so I had a pretty small signature radius. And the Dreadnought that spawned in there, it was in Serpentis space. It basically like one or two shot me, and I even think it had a newt. I'm not 100% sure if I was correct, but I'm pretty sure it did have a newt. The point is, these enemy NPC Dreadnoughts, they have really good damage. They have amazing tracking. They can track afterburner cruisers. They also have the potential to have deadly E-War. Now, this will be even more dangerous if you have enemy frigates or enemy NPCs on the grid. Now, in the end wave of these Sansha Havens, you don't come across like scrambling NPCs. So that is a good thing. But I was lucky here because I actually managed to warp away. Because the thing is, I was lucky to warp at like 50 kilometers. So I'm guessing that, you know, even though the Dreadnought has pretty good range, I'm pretty sure that I was outside of whatever E-War it has. Like, I think it has a newt, but I was at least very far away that I didn't seem to be affected by any newt. And I was able to tank for a short amount of time to be able to warp out. Now, I don't have the footage right here of the first time I warped in, but I did warp in a second time for you guys to see just what I mean by how powerful this Dreadnought is. So just keep in mind now, I'm using a Rattlesnake. A Rattlesnake is a really powerful sub-capital ship, but I'm not particularly like tank fitted, like I'm more like a sniper fit. But you'll see here how my Rattlesnake really gets wrestled by this Dreadnought very easily. So if we go here, you see here I'm warping to the site here, warping in at my usual range, like 50 kilometers. I think even here I was warping in a bit further maybe, but it's very dangerous when people leave the Dreadnought here and don't show it. Because I was just like, I'm gonna warp to a haven, and then I just get surprised with the Dreadnought on my face. That was not a good surprise. Luckily, I did not lose my ship. If I did, I would have been so angry that someone didn't say about this. But you're gonna see here, I'm gonna warp into this, and we'll come across the mighty Sansha Dreadnought. And an interesting thing is that the Sanshas, they don't have a model for their Dreadnought, so it just is taking the equivalent of an Amar Dreadnought, because Sanshas are kind of sort of like Amar, so to say. They use lasers. Like some factions are certain, like kind of attributes to a certain faction. Like Serpentis look a bit like Galente, so that's why they'll have like a Galente appearance of a Dreadnought. In this case, the Sanshas don't even have a custom model for a Dreadnought. So you see here, this revelation right here, that is the Sansha Dreadnought right here. And it's not a true Sansha one, like I said before. And I think maybe if it was a true Sansha one, I would have taken even more damage. You can see here, I'm quite far away from this Dreadnought right here. Very far away from it. And 70 kilometers. And you'll see here the amount of damage this guy is putting. You just half of my shield is just going in a couple of seconds right there. Obviously taking a tiny bit of damage from the other NPCs, but main thing is from that Sansha Dreadnought, and I've got like the overheating, the EM resist and everything, and it just still nuked it. If I'd stayed on the grid just a few more seconds more, I would have been wiped off the grid like that. So what do I want to really, like, what is the take-home message from this right here? Well, first of all, if you are ratting and you see a Dreadnought, make it really crystal clear to your corp mates that there is a Dreadnought spawn. Because if you go in and then the Dreadnought kills you, because there's a high likelihood that it can kill you, then it will not be nice when you lose a expensive ship, or if you've got some kind of blinged out ship. In this case, I've got a Tech 2 fit ship, but it wouldn't mean so much if I had to lose it. But the Rattlesnake is still in itself a pretty expensive ship, so it would have still been quite annoying. This also is kind of like another example of why you shouldn't unnecessarily go out in really expensive ships to rat in. Like, I am very guilty of this. I used to do torpedo ratting with a Rattlesnake, in fully blinged out Rattlesnake. It was really nice with those dank ticks, but if someone would have catched me, or someone would have got me in some way or another, like tackled me, it would have not been a nice day right there. Here I'm using a fit that's like 1/3 of the price, and it feels a lot more relaxing to do that. And I mean, if I had warped into, because in the case of a torpedo Rattlesnake, I would have warped in at 0, and I would have perhaps got killed by that Dreadnought, because then the Dreadnought would be really close, maybe even would have done more damage, maybe even would have been able to nuke me or use some kind of EO on me, plus the other small ships would be able to do full damage on me. So just be very careful when it comes to these havens. Another alternative could be to do the smaller variants of anomalies. The Forsaken hubs, those don't spawn in Dreadnoughts as far as I understand, so you could do them. It will be slightly worse, ticks, bounty ticks, and I think the true Sanshas that spawns in are not as good, but I still think it would be like a safer alternative if you are very afraid of getting these Dreadnought spawns. The Dreadnought spawns are not particularly common, quite rare, so it's not a huge thing to think about. This is the first one I'm seeing here in my trip now. You know, my journey I've been for the last, couple of weeks I've been in nullsec. This is the first one I see right here, but it can still happen. It's not the first time I've seen a Dreadnought. I have seen it before, back when I was in nullsec a few years ago. So just beware of the Dreadnoughts. Don't go in too expensive Rattic ships, unnecessarily expensive. And if you really want to avoid these Dreadnoughts, go and either rat in a carrier that can exterminate them, or if you're going to subcap, go into the Forsaken hubs. So that was a little bit of a story time here, me just talking a little bit about the Dreadnought spawns right here. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later.